Let's be telepathy, everyone. We are here from the state of California to bring you all your healing needs and questions. This week is really important and awesome. I'm going to be helping host a retreat in Mount Shasta. So we're just waiting on the rest of the people before we go uh, climb our mountain up 3.5 hours tomorrow. And then we're going to be living like Amazonian people without our cell phones, without AC, without anything like that. It's going to be awesome, amazing, and fun. But we're going to jump right into it today. Scott and Tara, you have great questions. Let's ask and answer those.
Yeah, well, Owen, hi, Owen. Oops, we have an echo.
If you're not on, will you mute yourself? If you are not talking, thank you guys. Okay.
Okay, see if that works. Okay. So anyway, it was a discussion and I'm kind of new to the party here, and you may have been asked and answered this before, but coming from the my own personal experience with cognizance and call it telepathy and other forms of spirit communication. Tara and I had this discussion because Owen is constantly dropping pictures and videos and stuff into my head and music and things like that and messing with my radio and even texting and stuff. But in the meantime, we were wondering, well, Melissa talks to Owen. We were wondering what is the spiritual stream of information into your being? Does it come in as an idea that's dropped in your head and then you talk through and interpret it, or do you hear the stream of words? Is it claircognizance, mixture of all of those? If you can share or even find words to put it into, we'd love to know.
All right. So realistically, it's hypersensitivity. I go into a place where I allow my body to be hypersensitive about all the different things. So go into the state of awareness. Consciousness, as by definition, actually means awareness, not awoke, not spiritual, not anything else, awareness. And so when we are trying to achieve our top consciousness, we are trying to open and expand into the great consciousness or the collective consciousness. What we need to do is we first need to become aware. And so I become aware and hypersensitive of my own body is the first thing that happens. And I say, okay, here's where I am. And I notice before I engage, for the most part, before I engage, I do have people that come into my head and I'll explain that. But if it is something like this, before I engage, I just check into myself. Then what happens when I connect with them, which is ironic because Stephen actually had brought it up, is I close my eyes and I wait for what I call the static. When I go into the static, there's all this light that I go through and it goes light, 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 black, black, black until it goes pitch black. The pitch black for me is a clean slate. That tells me where everything starts. And then they start to bring in different senses. For each person, it comes in differently. For some, it is images. For others, it's lights. It can also be my past experiences, my memories, events that I have gone through, TVs that I have watched, uh, radio stations or songs that I have heard. They literally go through my memory and all of my brain like it's a Rolodex. And they start pulling out all of the different things that they know will catch my attention or bring me to the certain subjects or words. Now, are there words? Yes, sometimes they are just coming through and when I channel, that's them coming through me and then utilizing my body a lot of times to say some of the words so I don't have to pick up on it. When you see me doing the very fast channeling where I'm almost flipping over my words, that's them coming through. There is channeling too sometimes where it's a little bit slower and a little bit more intimate. It's a relationship that we have, not so much I'm just going to spit through your mouth and talk words. And that one will come through different smells. If it is a physical telepathy, because I do define telepathy as different pathways. So if it's a physical thing, and I'll bring Mason into it because he was somebody that I just checked in the other day, and his mom had asked me to. When I went to go check into Mason, I knew that what he was going through was something physical. So I asked my body what I felt,
Okay.
and then when I asked Mason what he felt, I felt the instant change. I could feel pain. I could feel exactly where it was. When I was going through some of the books and the chapters that I've been doing with certain people, I have actually felt everything that they have felt. I felt my chest hurting when they're having their moments when it is they're going through their aggression, they're going through their behaviors. Those are times when I'm physically feeling what they're going through. And so there's the physical sensation so that I know. Then there's also the mental. The mental is going through my mind, going through my emotions, and then sticking with those memories and those things. And then it's bringing up everything that they can see. There are times where they allow me to remote view for them and see exactly what they're seeing. So sometimes I can see exactly through their eyes to know exactly what they are looking at in that room and what's going on. There's the spiritual telepathy, and most people will start out spiritually uh, through the spiritual telepathy, and that is anything that's outside of our human body, the physical self, and that's also anything that is outside of the mind. So that would be anything that could be ancestors, ghost energy, orbs, angels, demons, those kind of thing, or even just feelings of closeness to creator, psychic abilities, intuition, those kind of thing. And when that comes through, it's almost as though they're coming and standing next to me and they're my actual spirit guide. And they're talking to me the same way that maybe a ghost would, or an entity would outside yourself. They are very present, and I've been able to catch them on the orbs to say they're in the room and I'm talking to them. And you can actually see in multiple videos that I have that we're separate. They're not in my head. They're an orb that I'm talking to in the room, and I am separate. And that is that spiritual stuff. That's the spiritual aspect of it. Clairaudience. Now, most would think that your hearing gets louder. I go deaf when I do telepathy. So I will actually get such a ringing in my ear that I can barely hear anything else. And the ringing goes until they pick up the phone and then I can hear their frequencies. I will start to hear each individual frequency as though they have their own voice signature. And then the signatures come in very much so like a dial-up internet where it's and then all of a sudden I'm online. So that happens too. So there's a few different things, but this is why I say that telepathy is an experience, because it's not just hearing their words, it's not just having memories or remote viewing or extra smell, extra thoughts. It's the whole thing. And they'll use you to access any which way, shape, or form they can. If they're not getting it through smell, then they're going to get it through sound. If they can't get it through sound, they're going to pull you through your memories. If they can't pull you through their memories, they're going to show you a picture that you haven't seen. Sometimes they come and do charades too. You know, they're pointing to things like they're doing ASL, and I have to figure out whatever it is that they're pointing to. So it's really hard to say this is exactly what it is, but there's all these different pathways that they can get through. And then there's the immediate pathway. If I have this, hotline, I guess, in my head that if somebody is having an issue that they can call me. When that happens and they're having really bad body attacks, I can literally hear them screaming. I will feel what they are going through. And I go through this little panic of, okay, this isn't me. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And I have to actually find a way to calm myself down and then it just, their signature comes through, and I know it's them, and that's where I'm calling their parents or their, whoever, and saying what's going on with them, because it gets so intense that I'll get migraines, I get headaches. I've been really close to even going in the hospital sometimes when some of them are really going through it. So it's a lot of different aspects. When Owen's talking to me, he is a very clear channel. So he pretty much knows what he wants to say, and he will just come in and say, "This is what I want to say." And then he does his little magic and proves it on that other side. He is a visionary. So he will speak, but he also brings me through almost like a movie. If I was watching a movie and seeing all of the scenes to the movie going out, when I'm doing telepathy too, and it's not a direct channel, I do want to say, and this goes back to Stephen saying, is everything that they say right? Uh, I get it as close as possible to my acknowledgement of what it is, and you'll see me a lot of times saying things. Well, I know it's not this, but in the human world, it's this. Or when I was doing, some of the channeling, maybe I said creator rather than God, and then the mom says, well, we like the word God. Okay, then use the word God, but it might be just a little off, but not the exact word, but you'll get the gist of what it is. So it's a really just getting in empathy too. With every single connection, you will always feel empathy. At bare bones, you're going to feel empathy for the person, and that will be the first thing that's coming through versus words, smells, sights, anything, is this strong feeling of, I'm here for you, I'm ready to listen and feel how you feel, because you don't have to go through this alone. And so it's almost going and saying, I appreciate you, but let me take your burden. And it's also that offering to them of, allow me to take that burden to help you out, because helping them helps us all the time. I've never been, helped anybody really, that it hasn't had some kind of uh, fallback for a better world.
That's incredible. Can I just ask you also do you feel that the skill of being able to shift is something you might like just be working towards naturally? Like you just feel like you're getting better at, I need to hear, I need to, because not the hearing is sometimes, but like the vision. Oh, I think it would be helpful for me to use to be able to see it, and then you can like bring that in more. Are you like getting control of that?
No, I don't have much control over it, to be honest, because it's more them going through my head and my memories, or things that I've seen, experienced, anything that I've taken, part in this world, whether I've seen it, felt it, smelt it, whatever. Um, they really seem to be in control, and you could tell, and it with the EEG, and I'll be wearing that next week again. But when I had the EEG on, you could really tell the fight between me and Jaden of him wanting to talk. So he was coming through my brain where I was saying, disconnect, let me explain this. And I could barely even explain it because he was in my head, so I couldn't catch my words. So a lot of times they're in control of the brain once of my brain once it starts, and I don't know how they get a hold of it. There are times where I can say firm no, you can't be here. I'm having myself in myself time, and so I can shut them down a little bit. But if it's an emergency, they're getting through. I'm not going to ever stop them from getting through. It doesn't matter if I'm in the middle of the night, dead sleep, if I am on a roller coaster at Valley Fair or whatever. They will come in if they're needing that help. So I have found that I don't have full control over my brain when it comes to that. I think David even was one that caught in on the end, and he kind of caught in, and I heard him say hello, and nobody else heard him there, but you could see on the EEG when he had come in. So, uh, and maybe I'm just so fluent in it, I don't know how it just starts, because now it's an automatic thing. I mean, this has been my life since I've been, since I was born, and I was opposite, where I was trying to shut it down and not realizing that it could be a tool that's utilized for uh, the better good for everyone.
Melissa, can anyone reach you when they have emergency or message? Does anyone could reach you, or only those who know you, or you have contact previously with them, or anyone in the world?
It's anyone in the world. I have on multiple occasions heard people from Africa, from Canada, people from Oklahoma that I had never met. And their name was very much, I mean, it was a straight, here's their name, go find them. And I reached out to them. Hey, you don't know me. I know this is really weird. Every instant that happened, though, it almost wasn't a shock. It's interesting because people, I was just praying to the angels, or I was just praying for somebody to come, and then you came. And so it was almost as though they recognized that. So it's not just people that I know, and a lot of them are people that I don't know. I will also say that I am in contact with several people, I'm assuming, that I view as ghosts or angels. And I've met so many people where I've met them in spirit, and then I meet them in person, and I'm standing in front of them and don't even know that that's them. And Elsa was one of my first ones. That really threw me for a loop. And I've since we've evolved with this group, I've known more and more to say, oh, okay, Nikolai was one of them. Is Mick came as Micah, and I knew him as Micah for years. And when his mom said Nikolai, it just didn't compute. I actually wrote his name down. And then we came to a compromise that his name was just going to be Mick. We're just going to call him Mick. But when I wrote Mara, Amelia's mom, one day, I said, oh, it was a rough night. Sorry if Amelia didn't get much sleep. We really all tried to work through it. But one of our friends, Nikolai, was having a real issue. And Mara writes back and she goes, who's Nikolai? Amelia said it was you, Elsa, and Micah. And I said, Micah's what we call him on the other end. So we had known him as Micah we were talking to him for 7 months before he even came into our physical field. And then that kind of changed everything going into that. So there are people that I met. I've even gone so far to write an obituary of somebody who had said before they died, Melissa's going to write my obituary. And then they died, came to me, I wrote the obituary, and then sent it off to the mom. And she goes, I never even knew that they were this in tuned and this much. And so I'd never met that person, but I knew their whole life by the time they came to me. So, yeah.
Thank you. You actually explained that very well. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
And I'd just add here that for me, it's not so much taking on Owen's problems as much as taking his food menu. So that's just a joke.
I love it.
It's not. It's actually pretty true. Food is a big topic that comes up. Yes.
I love it. Yeah, and sometimes I'll just randomly talk in my head. I don't reach out every time to everyone. And now, if I'm in if I'm having a bad cancer day, if I am having an emotional day, or I really need to do things for my family, they can't get in. And so there are some times where it's almost creator says, okay, nope, she needs her brain power for this, and then shuts me down. But for the most part, if they really wanted to, they can get in. And that's really anyone with the telepathy line. And that's what's awesome about the telepathy line, is that you know what's going on with everyone, and you have that ability to reach out and help them and care for them in that exact moment that they're needing it. Now, not everyone will get on and say, hey, Melissa, sometimes they're having some problems and somebody else will come and tell me, and say, maybe Owen will come and say, hey, Jaden's having an issue. Can you go talk to him because he's screaming? And maybe Owen got the message, and then I get that, and then I'll call, Jaden or something like that, and see what's going on. So it's not always direct from the person either.
I want to tack on real quick because you said something that we experienced before, which might be helpful for people to know. We had one case we were working on of a murder victim, and we had one group of mediums that were talking to her through clear audio and movies and dropping things in her head. I brought in a separate medium separately just to get a completely independent. And because that person we brought in separately was a school teacher who taught literature, this spirit was pulling up. I had two different movies to watch after we were done talking because the characters in that movie, who also the teacher had taught in her class, matched the situation and everything. So yeah, it's like a Rolodex, just like you said. They'll go through and find out what you can relate to, whether it's song, music titles, lyrics, stories. Anyway, it was interesting you brought that up. So I'll be quiet now so others can talk.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yep. And that's what they do. And sometimes they'll even point out like movies and have you watch them so that you can understand. There's a lot of, so I know echolalia is talking, the same things, but one thing that I see, I don't know what it is called, there's not quite a word for it, but it's almost like echolalia of technology, where they will play over and over the same video until somebody listens to them and hears them, and a lot of times what they're playing in that video is what they want you to hear. Yeah. All right. So, Stephen, come on in.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I was kind of trying to I was meditating a little bit. Turn my camera on. Oh wait, I think someone else before me had a question, or
It was Tara and Scott, and then you,
okay.
and then Ellen, I believe.
So
Oh, Natalie. Natalia. Sorry. Yes.
So I met up with the Smith Collective in Ohio, and I sat next to Noah. I was able to. So I'm just gonna go really fast. I was able to hear Noah, hear his like spirit voice, because what happened was like Noah's mom, like I was sitting there meditating next to him, and then Noah's mom was giving him something, and then like Noah was sitting to my right, and I heard him say thank you, and then I heard it, and I was like, wait, does Noah even speak? So and then I opened my eyes, I was like, wait, did Noah just speak to you? I asked his mom. His mom was like, no, he doesn't speak. And I was like, wait, I just heard him say thank you in my ear. Like he said it into my ear. It's as if you're hearing my voice right now. That's how clear it is. He said thank you, and then we got Noah to confirm that he did indeed. He was saying thank you to his mom for giving him for handing him something, and like I guess I eavesdropped and heard it. And then I guess like right now, like after our talk in Ohio, I went back to my hotel, and what happened was like I just closed my eyes and meditate, and then I get this like stress pressure sensation in my eyeballs. I used to get them in the past whenever I'm meditating, but this is way stronger pressure in my eyeballs, and then I just kind of concentrated on it, and whenever I did, so I'm sitting in a room, I have my eyes closed, it's dark, And if I concentrate enough on it, I see like a circle, like filled circle, and the colors, most of the time the color is like white or sometimes like kind of yellowish, but like I'm seeing light, like I'm literally seeing light with my eyes closed. And then I asked Melissa what that was about, and she said that was that. I guess that's Adriana's signature. Is that the way to say? Okay, cool. And then today was really cool. So after I saw Melissa's message, I tried to have a have like a little Q&A session just to see where it goes. Um, and somebody, I feel like I'm hearing myself. Sorry.
Trying to mute. I don't know how to mute.
That's fine.
Let's see. It might be me.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how to mute myself, guys. Sorry, I don't know on the phone how to do
That's
any
fine.
of this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah. So what happened was I closed my eyes, and then what I tried was like I tried to connect with Adriana, and so I closed my, and this happens so fast. Like it's incredibly fast. You just close your eyes and you can immediately get like that kind of like that pressure feeling in your eyes. It's so fast. There's no meditation involved whatsoever. So like I close my eyes, and then I feel like I'm kind of connected to her. And then I ask a question, hey, I have a couple of people I know. Are they friendly? And then I thought about person A, and then I got like the pressure and sensation in my eyes, and I take that as a yes. And then I said in my head, what about B? And I also got the pressure and sensation. And then I said C, and then I didn't get it. And then I went back and said A, and I got it again. And I think that kind of confirmed, because I did suspect a little bit person C was a bit on the fence. And the thing is, like, this sensation, this pressure in my eyes, I don't think maybe I'm like causing it. I would say maybe 20%, because I do have some intention, right? I do put some intention into these names, and maybe I influence some of that influence some of the pressure, but like it really comes like from somewhere else. That pressure, I don't think I control it, because I tested it with these, like, saying these 4 names, and and it seems like she was responding. So I'll stop talking now. Sorry.
You're okay. You're okay. Yes. So when we do connect, there is definitely pressure in the head. I can't prove it, but it feels like my brain actually expands whenever I go into telepathy or meditation. It just gets tighter, and it puts a little bit of pressure. So when you're feeling that, me personally, I feel like that's a good in place for you. And so when we find our niche in spirituality, it's really cool when we find our niche in anything that we do with telepathy or even in physical life. When you find one way to do it, you never lose that ability. So once you find that access point, you'll have that access point. So if you already had that access point, and then you went and you retried it, you're going to be able to do that every time. So keep working on that. The pressure within the eyes, this is why they call it the third eye, because a lot of times that you're starting to see spirituality, you'll get the actual pressure, and the fluid will actually, the water and the fluid will change in your eyes, and they'll start to see things not of this world even, and they can start to see in a different world. And that's the cool thing about water, is it has the ability to show us all these different realms and all of these different places to be in. When Adriana speaks, I've always seen her, she comes in this circle for me, and it looks like a QR code, but she does this Morse code kind of thing, and it starts to spin around and spin around, and it talks like that. And so when she was speaking, what she was doing was, she said she actually helps code some of this universe. So that's why all of her tones, that she's actually changing the energy within her atmosphere, within the universe, and she codes a lot of internet stuff. She loves talking into her tablet, and she codes into that also. But her signature is, she'll make those codes, and if you listen to her talk, she'll actually kind of do it in leaps. So she'll go, and she'll go into the loops, and that's because she's spinning that. And then when she's done, she'll go like this, or she'll push her hand. She always moves the energy some way, which way, shape, or form away from her. And it's almost as though she's sending that message out to people. So if you saw those circles, that was probably her coming through. I haven't seen Noah talk in circles like that. He's usually straightforward, very cosmic. And Adriana is cosmic, but it's almost as though she's beyond the cosmos. Once you have that connection with them, though, dive into it. Sharon's really good about, if people say, I feel like Noah or Adriana said this, she's pretty open to asking them if it was true or not. And they are very good at spelling, to say yes or no.
I'm just starting this, and I feel like I need to kind of respect your space. So I'm trying to not kind of like I guess I annoy them too much with my pointless questions.
Well, here we love questions. We love questions here. That's how we get answers. I've always been one of those people. Do not like my kids because of how many questions they asked all the time. Your kids ask all the questions. Great. Yeah. Because they want to learn. That's awesome. I don't want a child that doesn't ask questions. I don't want a person that doesn't ask questions. Ask questions. That's how I learn too. If you've been in any of these meetings, I will backtrack on some of the stuff I say. I was all about telepathy is in the heart. Telepathy, go from the love space and blah blah blah. And all these people came to me one day, and I said, okay, we're going to do a Q&A. They came, and the question was, I've been trying to get in my heart. I love my son. I love everything, and I am happy. And then I try to connect, and I can't connect. And then I connected a telepathic line, and they said, you know what? It's not from love. It's from safety. It's from empathy. You got to be there. And so myself, sometimes I don't know the answers. You guys ask questions, then I find out the answers myself. And then that helps me become a better teacher down the road. So we love questions here. Don't ever feel like any question is wasted here, because somebody else is going to ask it. Yeah. Natalia, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can anyone learn telepathic connections? And if there's specific people that could do it easier and faster? Or if the answer is yes, anyone could do that, then is there specific steps you have to go through, or it's all individual?
Well, first, I can't lower your hand. So if you want to lower your hand, that would be awesome. Second, I don't want people to ever think that telepathy is something that they ever have to learn. That is not a thing. Every single person in this earth has the ability to utilize telepathy and has used telepathy, especially if you were an infant in this world and needed to get the information out to your parents and you had no ability to talk. Every single person has the ability. I don't want you to think that you don't, or that there are people that cannot achieve it. What I have found is those who are fluent in telepathy are open books. They're very real, very raw with their self. They are very much, I am who I am in the moment, and anybody can come and look into me. The biggest fallback that I have seen in telepathy is people worried that, what are they going to see? Are they going to know everything about me? Are they going to see all the bad things? And that is usually what stops the telepathy, is people wanting their life private. Those who speak telepathy usually don't care. We're just open books, and we say, well, you know what? If you want to come in, well, I'm naked, in the bathroom, then that's on you. That's not on me. I don't have a problem with my naked body. If you want to come in and you want to talk, well, I'm doing this, that's fine. You want to know about my life, that's okay. So what I have really found is confidence in yourself is going to be the number one thing to get you to telepathy, and the ability to share yourself with others in a way that they in a way that they are okay seeing you. Judgment is a lot in the head. And I'll say that letting judgment go is huge too, because when you say, hey, you know what? I don't need to judge you. You don't need to judge me. That's up to creator. That's up to God, whatever you want to give it to somebody else, but you don't have to judge. And when you relieve that judgment from yourself and from others, pure connections can be made. It's going into a place of safety into yourself. And that's another thing that I'm realizing with people, that as I'm building this telepathy class, because I'm not just going to come out and say, this is what it is. And I tried, and the kids pulled me back and said, no, we need to go further. One of the things that they really brought me back, I'm 15 chapters into their book right now, and into even lessons of the telepathy. And what they wrote and what they brought me back was, people need to learn how to be safe within themselves, and they need to feel safe with themselves. They need to know their bodies. They need to realize that unconditional love doesn't mean you have to like everyone, but it does mean that you have the ability to give anyone empathy. We've also seen that people have a hard time with presence. So many people are, well, this is my past and this is what's going on. And then as you go to the future, well, what am I going to do with the future? A lot of telepathy is what's happening now. What is present now? And we are listening. Now, can we get messages about the future? Absolutely, we can. Can we get messages about the past? Absolutely. But being present in that moment, and again, knowing your mind, knowing your body, and knowing how to differentiate between somebody else's energy and yours is pivotal in telepathy. And that is one thing that, as you observe, as you partake into surrendering, becoming safe in yourself, becoming an infinite love, and not caring about other people looking into your life, that's all going to start to develop. I know Nadine has something to hear, and Miss Nina has something, and Pat has something to say. Both of you guys, I could just hear both of you over there. So Pat and Nina, what do you have to say?
Hi,
I should
everyone.
let Nina go first.
I'm happy to see you all. So many friends. The kids are so gracious, and it's so healing to just open your full self up to their access. And that's where you receive confidence, because if there's something in your life that you're ashamed of or embarrassed of, and therefore there's a blockage of this free openness, it's just an opportunity for you to love yourself more and release it. And it's beautiful. So it's like Melissa said, it's just when you get to a place where you've let go of the impact of suffering in your life, and you let go of like every choice you've made and everything you've witnessed, and you just accept it all as perfect, and you love every version of yourself, then you can just be in pure confidence, because all you are is in the state of being. That's all it is. You're just in the state of being. And the kids meet you right here, right now. And that means that everything you did leading up to right now is loved. And that's confidence with this bridge.
Mm.
Well said. Thank you, Nina. Pat, I see you there with a big smile. You got something to say.
I'm just absorbing. First of all, thank you so much. Your your smile, I can feel it through the I can feel it straight through my phone screen, and it's so nice. The emotional connection that you mentioned, I suspect that there's a really strong correlation between like your heart chakra and your mind, and it reminds me of, so there was a study by the Heart Math Institute like 10 or 15 years ago, and they were doing EEG data and HRV data, and what they found is they were measuring negative or positive precog, right? And then what they found is the precog showed up in both your mind and but it showed up like 5 milliseconds sooner in your heart center, right? So you saw the perturbation in your heart core, what is it, coherence, beforehand. And I found that fascinating because I was like, maybe that's kind of where we're supposed to be dialing in. And so in like my own experience, I have 5 kids, but I have 2 that are young right now, like one that's 5 and one that's 9, and so they're still open enough where we spend a lot of physical contact together, and I lay with them to go to sleep tonight at night, and I notice that I have a much stronger telepathic connection with them, if you will. So, um, could you? Is that a pathway to develop telepathy? And I should caveat, like, I'm not super interested in developing telepathy for any particular reason other than I want to be part of a more loving world and spread that message. So it's kind of like it nicely lines up, right? So I don't know. Maybe you could speak on that for a second.
Well, yeah, definitely. And that is something that we do within our lab is we do look at that heart to brain connection, and even down to different cells and stuff will even resonate with the body and pick that up. So you can see it down to a
Mm,
cellular level. What I say as far as
really?
the heart, and I just know from nursing, especially that the heart is a
Yeah.
huge bridge for both
Mm,
spirituality and the physical matter. When we start to have problems with our love life, you see it a lot in elders where they have their loved
mm,
ones, their wife or their husband dies. My aunts did it. They were twins. And so when one died, the other died just weeks later. And what they actually go through is a physical heartache. And it's a medical condition called failure to thrive, when you no longer have
hmm
any reason to live and you don't have anything to put your love and your heart into, then your mind will actually shut down and you don't have that ability to actually go on. In saying that, it really shows us the bridge between spirituality and the physical life, and that spiritual drives the heartbeat. And you'll see that in love, you'll see that in anger, when the heartbeat will start to change. And
hmm
it's a beautiful thing. It is absolutely down to a science. What you're doing is you're getting in through the heart, you're getting a magnetic pulse, and
hmm
through the brain, you're getting an electric pulse. And so the
Okay.
magnetic pulse goes boom, boom, and it starts that blood, that flow, that plasma to start going up that aorta. And then when that blood hits into that aorta and it disperses through the brain, and the brain then goes, here's the magnetic, and it
Mm,
charges that electric, sets the plasmas then in motion. And so what you're seeing in that is the actual electromagnetic energy that is pulsating through you, which you need both to get into any spirituality or dimensional time or space.
mm.
And yeah, the more emotions that we have uh, towards people is actually harder to do telepathy with. So it's harder to do things with those that are closer to you because you're so involved,
Mm.
also because you would know things and want to change their life. And that is not permitted in the spirit world. So I say all the time that the closer that people are to you, it's like putting your hand up to your face. You can't see the lines, but the further that you bring it, the
Mm,
more you can see then. Uh, However, I will say that on a neurological and instinctual level, we will always tune into our family first before we tune into the outside. But that is a lot more where it comes into the feeling and it comes into the sudden no. And we don't question it as much. So we don't think that it's that telepathy. Also, when we're trying, as Nina said, when we're trying well, she didn't say when we're trying to do telepathy. When we are trying to do telepathy, it's actually harder. What she said was when you calm down, when you surrender, and you go into that state of being, and now you just are. That's where you're going to find it. If we're trying, if we're going out, if we're searching and trying to get into somebody's head rather than meeting them where they are and they meet you where you are in the present moment within your body, time, space, and continuum, then you're not going to have that full reception all the time. Now, sometimes people can reach out and they say words and you can get that. But if you're stepping outside your body and you're saying, I want to go, no, I want to see, I want to whatever, and you're going outwards rather than saying, I'm ready to observe, I'm ready to feel, I'm ready to be, you're going to miss the telepathy because you're searching for it outside of yourself and it's all inside of you.
Thank you for everything that you do for humanity.
Same to all of you. Thank you.
I'm gonna pass the question microphone, but thank you so much. I've got to go to work now, but I look forward to joining next week.
All right. Have a good one. Thanks for joining, Pat. Scott, go
There you
ahead.
go.
Hang on there, Pat. Don't disappear. This is regards
Bye.
part of an answer to your question if you have another second. So, oh, this isn't going to come through very well. Okay. So,
What does it say?
let me try it again. There we go. This is
Oh.
a post that Nina
Oh.
made. And so this is sort of an answer to your question. You can't see it, but what it is, it's a Nina said that the collective of non-speakers asked me to post this song today. And this is the thing is the Kid Collective out
Yeah.
there. You sort of leak light when you're open, I guess is the best way to put it. So
Oh man, that's beautiful.
your on-air light is constantly streaming out there. So in proof that I have all these collective of kids hanging around me, even in the most mundane place, she posted that at exactly the same time I was running and breaking a PR record on Jericho Turnpike. And the name of the song is Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho. So I
You
fought
know that
hard to
song,
break
Joshua
there.
fought the Battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. It's such a good song, and it's about, read the lyrics. It says they listened to the children, and the children cried, and all of the instruments blew, and all the walls fell. And that's how the systems are going to crumble from the
Yeah.
children and music. I'm telling you all.
Yeah, lots of messages. But point being is that the more innocent and open you are, they're attracted to you because it's the collective. So anyway,
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Did you just know those song lyrics off the top of your head?
I haven't heard that song in 20, 30 years. I don't know. It goes back to the Rolodex thing we were talking about. They flipped
Mhm.
through and said, this song will give the message. They knew I was running on Jericho Turnpike. And I was fighting as hard as I could, full heart max, and I shaved a minute and a half off of that PR. I literally broke that wall down.
Gosh.
And so the proverbial message was the title of the song, and then as Nina said, the actual message the kids are trying to express is how the children are breaking the walls down for
And
humanity.
Tara can attest to the fact that I have a really bad memory with lyrics. So even when we were singing my favorite songs, I had
Nailed
to
it.
put all the lyrics up on my phone when we were playing piano and singing. But I have every lyric of that song in my head right now. I could sing it because it's in stream with them. So it's like when they send me these songs and stream with them, I get the whole song with like every lyric. Speaking of that, I put in there that Peter's connected to this song by Dave Matthews that he wants us all to listen to. It's called The Space Between. And if you just
Oh
listen to
wow.
the lyrics, just receive that message. And then yeah, I didn't know if you had a tap in with him, Melissa, because he's been, this
Let
is
it.
the year he's going to communicate a lot. It's his 25th year in 2025.
Where is
He's
Peter?
ready.
He's on here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we could ask him what he has to say too. Hi, Amy.
Hi guys. Peter's here, but he's in the bathtub. That's why I have my screen up.
Oh, that's okay. They don't
Yeah.
care where
That's
they
great.
are. You know, as we
That's
said,
great.
we meet them where they are.
Where they
We
are.
don't go out and try to get them down.
Do you need to see him at all or no?
Oh, we don't need it. No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. So actually, you'll notice that anytime I channel, I don't ever look at anyone because looking at anyone really is distracting. It puts the energy on the human rather than the spirit. And so I, a lot of times, just look away. Oh my gosh, Kim, I love your pup. Okay, so the first thing, it's funny because he's showing me an image. And the first image that he's showing me is all these different ribbons that are all different colors. And he says, the world is very much like ribbons. Each person, they're different texture, different fabric, different color, and each of them can make their own beauty from what they have. But all of them, when placed into a box together, and he's showing the earth, and he says when put into a box or a capsule together, their energies get overlapped, overtangled. Sometimes you can't see the beginning of one and the end of another. And that is what I came for. That is my job. That is my point on this world and this earth, is to show that everybody is connected through the overlaps, through the entanglement, through every experience, every moment, he says gestation. So whatever that means to you, I don't know. But he says every gestation that has happened is a part of the streams of light that we bring from from the divine into this world. And I want to show the world their colors. I want to show myself my colors. Hang on just one moment here. Sorry, guys. I'm still getting over a little bit of this sickness.
Admit it, it's a hairball.
Right. He says, I want to show the world their colors and what they can do, because when we start overlapping the light, we get different colors and we get different spectrums. We get different feelings and different emotions. I want to show the world that all of them are necessary, but we need to start unraveling them too. We need to show the individual and their uniqueness. I don't want equality. I don't want equity. I just want every person to be able to show their own unique signature on this world and what they are meant to do and what they're here for. And he says, that's funny. He says, Nina has inspired me to sing for the world, and that's something that I am going to do. This is something on a very physical level that I am going to be doing. I've already been toning. I've already been working on my vocal skills and saying a lot more. He says, the house gets very loud sometimes around me. He's going, oh, oh, ah, ah, and he says, I'm trying to find my vocals right now. And so I've been a little bit more annoying. And that's the best word that I could say. He goes, I've been a little bit more annoying with my voice and the chiming, because I am still trying to learn that and utilize that. But what I really like about my mom is that she understands me, and she's somebody who meets me, and he's showing like your hands. He's showing he says meet me at this level. So when he is doing that, he says that you're meeting him at a space that's comfortable. You're not trying to go lower, you're not trying to go high. He says you're trying to be here with him. And he says, I feel that you want to be with me. I feel that you want to connect more, touch more. He's very much wanting to touch, wanting to hug, wanting just touch is very important to him right now. And so he's showing me like he might be touching more things, but he's also pulling back on those things a little bit more. He's trying to integrate himself a little bit more into this world. But he says that you really help meet him at his level, and that you are doing such a better job than you used to do, because before maybe you met with frustration or authority or tried to talk down to him, but you have finally met him at his level. And he says, I feel like a respected man. And he's very happy about that. And that was one of the things that he has been trying to achieve is manhood. And he needs those people around him to be able to speak to him like a man. And he said, you just started doing that, where before you talked maybe a little bit more child. And so he's just appreciating you in that moment and saying, thank you for seeing me for who I am and the age that I am, and not just the body that I live in. He
Wow.
says that you guys have been connecting more on dreams too, that you are connecting within your dream state. And he says that's really real. He said, please write down what you remember and encourage yourself to grow more. But he wants to see words. He knows that you guys are working, but the words for you when you see him in dream and then you write it down. He says it makes him very happy because it solidifies. And in this world, he really loves the physical realm. He said, I need to see reality as real and not just hear it. So if you write it down, he knows you said it, you saw it, you wrote it, and now it is existence, and that's something real for him. I don't know if he wants to take the paper with the words and run with it, but that's just what I'm seeing, is that he's taking it and just going and putting it maybe somewhere in the house. But he says, but I really put it in my heart. He says, I take things and I put them in the house, but I really put them in my heart.
Oh my gosh, that is just amazing, Melissa. I can't thank you enough for that. That's amazing hearing that. And it's very true. I mean, it's all from the telepathy tapes and meeting people that can connect with him and learning about him to where my whole mindset is different, you know. He's still the same on the outside, you know, of what I see and how, you know, how he has difficulty, you know, regulating and all this stuff he does is OCD stuff. And but I do think of him differently. I talk to him in my mind. So knowing that, yeah, he's in there and he's brilliant and all this stuff has just totally, you know, changed my world. So that's amazing.
Good. Yeah, he's proud of you.
Thank you so much.
You gave him a new opportunity that he hasn't had before, so that's awesome. Good job, Mom.
And anybody who hasn't seen it should see the interview with Amy and Tara.
I did watch that one. That was it was cute. Well, I watched some
I'll
of it.
post
I'm not.
it.
Yeah, I've been watching. Tara, you should tell people about your little your interviews that you're doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've kind of got a niche market going on. It's moms with kids. I'm gonna be
Marshmallow.
Oh, the marshmallows. I'm gonna be doing another one with a friend of ours, Malena, and her daughter Lucy. So that'll be the next one. But yeah, I'm doing some interviews, and yeah, maybe we can share them. But right now, it's kind of in our little group, but maybe they'll go further. Yeah.
Love him. I love him. All right, Natalia. I know you had a question about your prayer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to repeat it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You can summarize it if you want.
Mm-hmm. So the question about the prayer is that I was in very deep meditation to the water, on nature, sitting in the water, very still, and I was very deep, so I wouldn't pay attention to outside world. It was kind of like really connecting to the water with love, appreciation, healing thoughts, and I got stung by either hornet or wasps. I wasn't sure who it was. It was very painful, and it was like sudden, and it was right in the heart area. So I was wondering, we were talking earlier about the prayer, and I was wondering what that might mean. Is it a message from above, or maybe I wasn't praying in the appropriate way? I don't know. So I have lots of questions about that.
Well, first of all, there's no wrong way to pray. If you feel like you need to pray, there's no wrong way. There's just different ways about going about it. I will say this, though, and it's a very big thing that I stand on, and I'm going to stand true until the day that I die on this. The closer that you get to divinity, the closer that you get to yourself, the closer you get to Creator and the truth, the more distractions are going to happen. And that's just simply what it was, is you were in that deep connection, that deep distraction, and you could have probably gone somewhere. Wasps are actually really known for going after thermal energy. So pretty much any thermal energy that they see that isn't theirs, they're going to go and attack it. And you're a honeybee, in our little hive, and the wasps always go after the hive. But it was probably just one of those distractions. I will also say that wasps are really, really affected by calm energy. That's why they go and attack the calmer bugs, the butterflies, the bees. They will go and attack people that are just sitting rather than things that are chasing them. It's actually more likely for you to get bit by a wasp if you are just sitting rather than if you're trying to hit them, because they will try to attack the weak. And so when they see them, they see people just minding their own business, they like to stir up chaos. And I don't know what that is, but that's just one of the things that naturally you can check into it. They like to stir up the chaos. So you were probably getting really close, and you were getting that connection. And I strongly believe in evil and good. I've seen demons, I've seen angels, I've seen entities, I've seen ghosts, I've seen things like that. And there are forces out there that when somebody is in perfect alignment can send things, can do things to just knock you off that alignment. And that way you don't get so close to the truth or what it is that is divine. I made a whole poem because I just sat with a week. So many people were having issues with, I'm doing so good, why is all the bad coming? And the poem was that the devil doesn't go chasing those who are already in hell. He goes to chase those that are on their way to heaven because he wants you for himself. So if somebody's not being chased, and things are just going perfect all the time, and it seems like they got all the money and all the looks and all the everything. Not to say that there aren't good people, but sometimes I question when people are going so good, what side they're working on, because they're not being knocked down by that other side. Me, I always know that I'm really getting close. If chaos starts happening in my life, then I'm going, oh, I'm on something, and they'll come in threes. So I'll wait. I'm one of those, okay, well, this bad thing happened, this bad happened, bring it on, because I know that when that happens, spiritual level up right there, and it's awesome. So yeah. Claudia, you have your hand up. Hello. Oh, can you unmute yourself and also put your hand down? I do not, my computer's not working at the hotel room. I can't get it hooked up, so I'm working from my phone today. Sorry.
Hello, I'm new. I'm Claudia, and
Hi.
mine on speaker is 42 years old. So I've been in this game a very, very long time. And mine on speaker's name is Ian. And all our lives, I've known that I knew what he was thinking, and he's same with me. And for a long time, I didn't trust it, but then eventually it became impossible not to, after he knew things like when my mother died before any of us did, things like that. He does use what was long ago called facilitated communication, but he types independently. And anyway, we do really well with communicating on all the levels, but lately he is talking about how he feels it's time to leave this body, and we're real open about that. That doesn't make us freaked out or anything. It's he's always been one foot in this body and one foot somewhere else, and so that's not something that makes me panic. But the situation is that it's so real to him. He also has epilepsy, and I think he has a lot of visions during the aura phase of his seizures. It's so real to him, and I don't feel like there's time in the greater consciousness. And so it feels to him like his time is now always, because my perception is that, he doesn't relate to time in the same way the rest of us do, which is why he's obsessed with calendars and clocks and stuff here, because it's his way of trying to be in time. Anyway, I'm not asking tonight, but I would just hope that maybe if Ian ever knocks on your door, that would just be lovely, because he's as confused by all this as we are. We're all just, it's like, um, we have told him, when your time comes to shed this body, we will be filled with joy for you and grief for ourselves. And if you stay, we will be filled with joy for ourselves, and grief that you're still in this really, really, really hard body. So it's not like a crisis kind of feeling for us. It's just part of life. But if Ian ever knocks on your door, I hope you'll be able to let him in, because we're so confused. I hope that makes some sense.
No, it makes plenty of sense. First and foremost, before he even said his name, he came through as Aaron, and very much. He says, she's gonna say my name, but my name is Aaron, and that's how you know me. So we've met before,
Okay.
and I've met him as Aaron, and
All right.
so I sometimes they present as different names here than they present in here. But he's saying that his name is Aaron, and that he said, it's not that my time is up as though I'm going to die right now. It's that all of our time is up. And I have to make acknowledgement of what is actually going to be happening, is that many of us are being called back to spirit, because we have shed our light here. We have already gained our access, our observation, and the data that we need to bring back to the place that we have to bring it to change the coding, so that this energy of this world and other worlds can be changed. There is the calling of coming back to many of us that have touched down. So several of us are going to be shedding our earthly body. He said in the next 3 years, especially, we're going to see a lot more of the non-speakers just going back home. And he said, it's nothing against you. It's nothing that you did anything wrong. It's just our calling to go back. We came and we are. He's presenting himself as a scientific researcher in an animal kingdom, where you just go and you observe. David Attenborough, like him, where he just goes and observes and he sees what's happening, and now it's his time to go and tell and explain, to the higher ups. He says what they saw and what needs to be changed, because he said from our point of view, where we were before, we couldn't see such destruction. We couldn't see the emotions. We could only see the chaos from where we were. We were not able to understand or grasp the concepts of what humanity feels and what humanity experiences. And so some of us have made the claims to come down and to take that energy, to watch it, to observe it, to monitor it, to write it down as data, to understand the movement, the times, and the orientations of what the people are in the state of beings, not beings, of beings that they are in. Because one thing that we see is that humanity is just a spectrum of light for us. It's not some place that we have to reside in and live in all the time and take acknowledgement of. And so therefore we are in different places, and we wanted to expand the minds of humanity as a whole and give you the option to know that you don't have to just be in one place. You can be in several places all at once. And so when I say that I'm going to leave, that is very confusing to some. But the bigger picture is it's just going to be a certain spectrum of consciousness that is going to be evolving out of this body and into the new, so that we can remap the database system. And what he's showing me is like computer systems. That makes sense. Like these big data things that they're making now for the AIs and for the chat GPTs and stuff. He said we have to override the technology because they reprogrammed and remapped the human, he says, human capacity. So, okay. He's sticking with capacity. That is a very specific word that he's using. He said that humans do not have the capacity to think, to feel, to acknowledge the things around them like they used to. And that he says now when he says technology, it's computer systems, it's lights, it's radio. He's kind of using it as a whole, but he's also talking about the Wi-Fi that we don't see between the hard things, is that he says that it's and that's why Peter came in now too. Okay. So the space between the things that are communicating, that are portraying the communication, we are not seeing the space in between the things that are changing that communication. And this is where now he's going in to say between the people, the interference of the frequencies are being messed up. There are quantum fields that are actually being put out into the space system and into the earth system that is changing the thought patterns of the people, so they no longer have the capacity to be the humans like they used to be. We had to come and figure out and observe what was wrong with them so that we can go back to it's almost like the IT center at MIT or something. And we have to recode them because now we saw the flaws in them. But several of us came down and now we see what it is. We lived through it, and we are going to have to go and fully be in our creator mode. He says, but we'll be coming back several times in spirit. He says that he'll be coming back in different people in those times too. But his time is not infinitely over, and he might, and the way that I see his body saying infinite, like this is going to happen, and this is it is going to happen, but I'm also seeing that it just might be a part of his brain that's just cut off, not necessarily death, but death in the way that he observes and sees things.
That's interesting. Well, what I find most fun about what you said is that his dad is a field biologist who studies animals in the field, like you were saying that they came down to do. So that's kind of fun. Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
So just let his human self know when he gets stuck in those loops. Say it's okay to shed some of us, but it doesn't mean our whole body has to die. Because I don't see that he necessarily has to die to achieve what he wants. He just has to let go of something and let parts of him die off, and he can go into that. But he also is saying that we're going to see a lot of deaths too within the next 3 years of people just disappearing, people they're having epilepsy and their body just going. People, he's talking, they're going to go back to the water, they're going back into the light, they're going to be walking into the fires, they're going to be jumping off, walking off cliffs. And he said it's going to seem like insane behavior, but we just understand death in a different way than what you do. It's just a shutting off the light moment. It's not a we're going to kill ourselves moment.
Yeah. Well, he's already been shedding over the last 5 years many, many parts of himself. So, which is why, it's hard not to buy into his talk about how it's time, because he has shed he has narrowed his life. It's very peaceful now. It's a good life. He's shed many things in his life that were hard, and so he's real peaceful, and um, he's shedding people and seeing people less often. He's a monk right now, so this is interesting and helpful.
Yeah. Owen's calling and he says he's like my bigger brother. And he said one thing that you could do is, can you hold both of his hands and remind him when he says those things, you are here and you are present, and that's all we're going to worry about.
Yeah, we talk a lot about living each day fully, one day at a time. So we can do that. Thank you, Owen.
I'm asking Caleb if he wants to say anything. He was so excited before. He seemed to have gotten a little tired. He goes, I'm a little exhausted now. Maybe, I love it. I think that Anthony is just coming over right now. Maybe because I'm a little worried about him. Maybe because I want him to really, kind of talk about what's going on, because it's not just a him thing. It's an everyone thing. And when I tapped into him, he said the big it is coming over us, and the darkness is starting to take over the light, and that's a choice. That's not an action. It is something that the people have chosen to do. They've chose to be lazy. They chose to be silent. They chose to walk away, to look away, to not care, to not be part of the system. And so therefore, when they choose not to be part of the system, their light is not part of the system. When their light is not part of the system, the goodness of them is not part of the system. And that's where humanity starts to get overtaken within their thoughts. They get overwhelmed with their jobs. They get overwhelmed with the relationships. They get overwhelmed in even watching their favorite TV shows, because it becomes too much stimulus, and they are not dealing with the problems at hand. And those people that are dealing with those problems at hand are us, are the people that feel everyone, that understand, that know, that can go into the minds, into the brains of other people, not by choice, but just because that's how we're designed. That's what we do. It's become a place where it's become overwhelming, and some of us have to hold too much down, and we don't have the ability to hold so much in spirit when we are also having to watch over our, wow, they are really going. And he says, when I'm having to watch over my body, and he's going back now to say, and that is why so many of them decided to leave, because when we leave in spirit, then our lights always shine. They can't go off. They don't have the ability to shut that off. But we have to do something about this world now. It's a critical moment where we have to instill peace. We have to instill harmony. We got to put that balance down. And this is where Owen's like, yes. And this is why every single placement of every single thing in this whole world, whether it be sound, whether it be light, whether it be dark, whether it be anything, has a very precise spot and a very precise moment. But then Anthony goes back to say, it's almost like they're having this conversation. Yeah, but when they aren't watching where they're going because they're looking at their phone, or when they are not coming because they're paying too much attention to the conversation that they're in. And he's showing me, like a relationship problem where two people are fighting and arguing, and they're supposed to be here, but they're stuck in that emotional. So maybe they can't make it to the funeral. Maybe they can't make it to whatever, which then now they're upset because the time's not there. And he said it's just building up, and it's becoming easier for humanity to be lazy, upset, sad, egotistical, rather than to be happy and to be accepting of your surroundings. People are no longer accepting of the people around them. Somebody else is coming in now. Does anyone have a math? I think I know everyone pretty much here. Does anyone have a Matthew with them? It's a Matthew is coming in. Okay. Matthew says, so whoever that is, you know, if you're reading this later, watching this later, just let us know. He wants to talk about that acceptance piece, acceptance of ourself. He says we need to start accepting ourselves as a whole, but understanding that when we look at ourselves, we're going to appear broken. We're going to appear as though there are issues within ourselves. There are issues within society that we cannot go back on because we did one sin, because we did one thing wrong, because we thought something wrong. You're going to punish yourself for the rest of your life and not allow yourself to fully expand, not to become that true. The words he's using is the true self, but he's also saying the true mission, the true passion. So he's using a lot of words, which means, in a nutshell, I'm going to say purpose. That you, he says, humanity looks so much about what they have done that they don't see that they can make up for those things in every which way, shape, or form. And no matter how bad a person has been, they can always be that exact amount of good. You will always match energies. So please stop thinking about your past in the way that it's harming you and start working for it in a way that will help you. We need to get back into the connection. We need to say we all mess up. We all, we all make mistakes, even if we don't want to. And now that's Anthony bouncing back in. And he goes, yes. And isn't that the point of autism? To show that when we're upset, that we are upset. To show that when something is wrong, that something is really wrong. We don't hide. We don't pretend. We don't even have the capabilities to do so. And when we don't have the capabilities to do so, then what our parents get to see is real. They get to see raw. They get to see natural. Exactly how it is. What we are feeling is the rest of the world. And so many people out there are asking, how can I help? What can I do? How can I make your life better? Simply make your life better. Simply start giving gratitude and thanks. Help people. Be in that connection, because when we all do it, we all benefit from it. It's not just one person. If you do something in your life, every single person in this whole entire world is now living your decision. They now have to make up for your decision, even if they're across the world. The butterfly effect. It is a real thing. What people say, what people do, what people think, they need to start paying attention to their diet, because they're letting anything in. Your thoughts, your songs, your music, your movies, everything is diet. And if you're allowing yourself to watch these action movies or these scary movies, or you're watching yourself watch the comedy, you're listening to the radio and they're talking about sex and they're calling people names on there and they're swearing. This is all thoughts that, whether or not you think they're good or not, it might be a good song, but it's not good lyrics. It's not good words. And when we are singing those, we are putting that into the world. And whether you see it or not, because you're connected to the music, it's a disconnection in humanity. And that is what is happening. And I am upset about it. And it's really making me mad. And I don't know how to connect. And my community doesn't know how to connect. But people don't know how to connect anymore. And that is what we need to do. So please, if you're hearing this message, please start connecting to the people around you. Smile. When you go into the stores, tell them all how beautiful they are. Look at their clothes. Look at something around them, whether it's their hair. Give them a compliment in your head rather than thinking something bad about them. Change everything about yourself and bring everything that you see, feel, eat, watch, hear into the divine existence or into the naughty existence. Whatever you want to be, bring it in, but be it completely and don't hold back. Because at least then, if you're somebody who's needing help, we can see it and we can help you. I'm not just listening to my own head and to the comments. It's not even his head. but he's saying it's his head. And I'm listening to all of the comments. I'm listening to what everyone's saying. I'm listening to the bad talk. I'm listening to the backlash. I'm listening to people gossip and talk behind their backs. And some people are now even trying to get information just to talk to people so that they can go and turn around and give that information to somebody else. And that's not acceptable. Work your problems through yourself, but also be real in front of the people that you're in. Know this, every single person in this world right now, even if they say they're the happiest, contains emotions of sadness and betrayal and resentment. And those are the feelings that are going through me. And I feel them. I feel the world's resentment. I feel the words anger, and I feel their disconnect. And it's so overwhelming for me that I get pissed. He says pissed. Sorry, Kim. Pissed at humanity. I'm so mad at them that I just want. He says, oh man, he says, when I'm in my head, I just get so mad at them. I want to hurt them all. And he said, it's not that I actually want to hurt them. It's just, and he's kind of bringing the movies where people just strangle each other, and then all of a sudden they get it. The person gets it, and then you get to walk away, and there's no more problem anymore. But he said that he's feeling humanity as a whole is feeling violent lately, and there's a violence of, I'm just so done with these people. They just don't get it. And he's really putting his hands like this, as though he's trying to put all the energy out in the whole world. But he's saying that people are just done with humanity. They're done with being human. They're done with their jobs. They're done with their relationships. They're done. But nobody's leaving. And so they could just continue to come here and complain. And I'm sick of it. Do better. Be better. I'm doing my best. And because you're not doing your best, I'm paying for it. My mom's paying for it. And all the people around me are paying for it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You nailed it. So, from what I gather, there was something dark attached to Anthony. And when we talk about dark, we can use whatever language we want to say, but it can start with a, hold on, let me lower my hand. If a thought is energy, someone has a negative thought, that creates an energy. That energy is dense. That density, from what I understand, vibrates at a, so if I'm looking at a spectrum, it's low. And it's easier for other dense energies to attach to that because it's not moving quickly. And Anthony, because he's going through puberty, has a lot of emotions. And some of those emotions are those lower vibration emotions because he can't express it, whatever's happening. And so those things can attach themselves to him. So what did I do last night? I got mad. I swore at the thing 2 nights ago. I swore because I saw something that he was mad at something that was in the shower with him, and I could tell there was something in there. And I got mad and I fed it because my negative energy, because I want to protect him, became, I guess what I'm saying is like, is there some sort of intelligence attached to this? Because it did what it needed. I did what it needed me to do. I fed it some negative energy, so it grew and it increased. And Anthony getting upset and having a tough time gives it more energy. He's frustrated. He's a spiritual being, but he's still entitled to his emotions. So he's experiencing this, and then I'm watching. So it becomes this perpetual cycle. And what did I do last night? I put out into the universe, I'm mad and I'm having a hard time watching my kids suffer. So what happened? That thing just blossomed. So everything you're saying, Melissa, I had a conversation with James today via, like, we voice text back and forth. And we were talking about, like, all of the misery and suffering in the world. Does it start with a thought and then it gets exacerbated and expanded, and then you have media, and if it bleeds, it leads in the news. So you have all this negative, pardon my French, you have all this negative shit that's put out into the universe, and it creates and manifests all this other negative stuff, and then that's all people focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, you're right.
speaking
Keep talking. Keep
exactly
that
to
tangent
everything
going.
it feels like this is what, and to circle back, like I was stuck in this a year or two, and I mean, like for years, I had the news on constantly, and I was in this constant cycle of like, oh my God, and it's just I haven't watched the news in probably 3 months, and I'm not disconnected. I will still check in to make sure I'm aware of like the stuff I need to be aware of, because I still try to send positive energy out there in the spaces that need it, but I try not to operate in that negative headspace for my kid. I mean, more so for Anthony, but it feels good for me too. And this whole week and then this weekend felt like I would look at him and he did not look like himself. And I watched myself walk by a mirror and I was like, that was weird. Like that didn't look like me in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like I almost had this like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like there is this stuff now that's out there that we just need to put more positive, not to say we're in denial of our feelings, like that sucks when we're all going through this, like life's hard. Acknowledge it, give it whatever, like give it space to exist and then let it go, because containing that and keeping that negative I know I'm talking crazy stuff right now, but like it didn't feel good. It didn't feel right to me. And I woke up this morning saying, God, I wish I hadn't said any of this stuff. But it's almost like I had to release it. And I wish I had just didn't create this around other people. But I will say, once I sent that out there, you've seen what happened. I mean, I cannot express my gratitude for the number of people that came forward and said, I hear you, I feel you, I understand. Parents who are going through this, or people who aren't, who say, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I empathize with your suffering. Just as a human, you don't have to experience what we go through in this particular community, because everybody suffers in their own way. It doesn't, the source of the pain doesn't matter. It's the fact that we all experience this as human beings. And that to me, so maybe there was a reason I put that out there, because it brought it all just full circle. And I felt such a warm embrace from our group and all of the people that came forward. And it's just, I don't even know where I'm going with this. It needed to happen. I feel like I needed to purge something. And I don't know if Anthony guided me towards that, or if whatever was happening to him, maybe it needed to happen. He needed to have this thing, and like it pushed me to do this. And all of these things sometimes feel like there's an intention behind it. Does that make any sense, or am I just rambling?
No, it makes all the sense. I love your ramble, and I love that you put that out in the community. For those of you who are watching and not paying attention, she just kind of put it out there and said, all these different channelers and all these people, they're talking love, light. And here we have our children. And I know Kim is close to a lot of people whose children have severe mental, breakdowns or behavioral breakdowns or body attacks. Their body breaks down, but they're going through very stressful, very scary, very aggressive moments. And whether their child is being aggressive or maybe there's new seizures coming on, we've had a lot of those since April that have really been going through it. And she had just said, why is everyone of love and light? And I know that was heavy on your heart to put out, but I'm glad you did at the same time, because that's one thing that, when people go into spirituality, they just want to stay love and light and happiness and positivity. I will tell you, that will make a person sick. It will literally make you sick to be so positive, to just see light, to just see, love, because you're blocking yourself off to the rest of the reality. And the rest of the reality, I mean, you look at just our atoms and you can break them apart, break them, under a microscope, atomic microscope. And what do we see? A yin and yang. We see dark and light. And quite honestly, an atom is yin and yang. It's light and dark. What do we see? Day and night, Would we see, growing babies in the dark and then they come out in the light? It's a full spectrum. And the people that just want to say, okay, we're only going to look at the positive, we're only going to look at the light, we're only going to look whatever, they're going to get burned out because they're going to become this fake person where only things that are positive are going to happen. What happens then is when negative things happen, they fall apart. They can't actually handle it. A true spiritual person, a true channeler, a true person, not even spiritual, a true person, when going through reality, will see reality is both good and bad. And if you're really looking at it, you can't see it any other way when you're an earthling. We have to have pain to see good. We have to go through growing pains when we're young to become bigger. We're going to see it in every aspect of our life. I am really in trying to, in some way, actually shift our group differently to say, let's go and talk about all these things because people aren't talking about them. And then I'm seeing it from the other side of, well, this is just my kid. Everyone else is out there and their kid's happy and their kids are behaving and they're spelling and they're doing telepathy and they're doing all. Yeah, because that's what they want to show you. They're not showing you the rest. And everybody has the rest. And again, going back even to the beginning of the conversation, how are we going to do telepathy if we don't see truth? If we can't be honest in the good and the bad and everything, then I would be even, I'm worried about those channelers. To be honest, I'm going to say it out loud. I'm worried for the channelers, for the spiritualists, for the gurus, for the healers that only go after the positive energy, because that means that they are not actually doing their job in healing the people because they're not listening to the full story. And as healers, as intuitives, as psychics, as people that work for Creator, God, whatever you want to call it, our duty is to actually step in to look at the stuff that's distorted, chaotic, empty, dark, because those are the things that we are trying to change into this world to make it better. So if we don't start with that stuff, we're never going to make better, because if we're just stuck on the light, we're going to do what all of us earthlings have already done, is go through light pollution. And that's a real thing for this earth right now, is that light pollution is so bad that if we lost all electricity for 10 years, our earth would still have so much light from the lamps, from the TVs, from everything that we use, that we can't undo it. And I will tell you that being in light, if you were trying to terrorize somebody and you put them in a room full of white walls and white lights, or you put somebody in darkness and black walls and no light, the person that's in the light will go insane faster than the person that's in the dark, because they are going blind. They start to hallucinate more in the light. They start to imagine things more in the light. I mean, I'm writing a whole book about it, and I have an entire 3 pages, just list by list by list, of what happens in the light versus 1 page, mental, physical, and spiritual, that happens just when you're in the dark. So those who really are looking for truth will step into the dark before they'll step into the light, and they will try to bring the light to the darkness, not the other way around. And I commend you for that post. I know it took a lot. I know that you thought that you were coming down on our community. You weren't. You were saying what needs to be said. And this is a call to the other channelers, to the other telepathics, to the other spiritual people. Do your people justice and talk about the uncomfortable things, because that's really what they want to talk about. They don't want to just talk about the science and how they can make life better, because the only way to make life better is to talk about the bad and the icky things that we don't want to talk about, and then to face them, to fix them, to modify them with love and energy and compassion. And then naturally the light will come. So thank you, Kim. Christy, go ahead. No, we're coming up to our 2 hours. I did want to do some healing on everyone too, and do a quick prayer for anyone that wanted that.
Yeah, so right before Kim spoke, like literally like 2 seconds before she started speaking, I was actually going to raise my hand and say something about the post that she made today because, I just feel like it was so real and honest and something that a lot of parents like that have, you know, typically developing children, for lack of a better word, don't realize, and it just, I don't know. So it made me think like, when these negative feelings come up or, negative experiences, it's hard not to get sucked into that. And I find it more difficult to then, like I was saying to you about Mason, how he was having difficulties. I was getting sucked into the negativity of it and almost like in a panic state where, like, how do I help him? So it's like when you're in that negative state, how do you help your child and how do you channel with them when that's happening? Um, I'm sorry, I'm like literally I have like a massive headache right now. And I think that like Mason actually in the last hour, he's been so incredibly comfortable and he was so uncomfortable all day. So I feel like I'm like sort of absorbing his energy for him. I'm not sure if that's what's happening or not, but that's kind of what it feels like right now. So like how do you do that? How do you like not absorb it so much that you can't channel?
So we have different statuses in our house, and utilize this however you want to utilize it. But it's what helps me and my family get through things. With my children, I have different roles. I'm a mother, I'm a nurse, I'm a counselor, I'm a friend. And those are the four roles that I allow. Now, of course, I do more, but those are the four roles that I know that I can take on with my kids, with my husband. It's the same, relationship, lover, friends, and sometimes even roommate with him, depending on how we're getting along. But why these roles are important is because we can wear different masks as humans. And if we get caught up in the state of being all the time, then we don't know how to act or what to do. So in my family, when somebody gets frustrated, when somebody, gets angry or tensions start to get high, and whatever we're at, where it's not working, let's say with me and my children, your frustrations are getting high and we know that it's not going to go anywhere, then I take a step back and I say, they don't need a mom now. What do they need? And sometimes that's a counselor. They just need somebody to listen, to empathize, give advice. Maybe they need a nurse. Maybe they need a friend. Whatever role that I'm playing at that time, I stop that role. Mother's not working for me now. So take that stuff off. And I know, Christy, you're a nurse too. So maybe say, I step back from this and now I'm going to be a nurse. I step back from this, I'm going to be a doctor. I step back from this, I'm going to be a counselor. But when you do so, you actually get your mindset into a place that's completely different. So now instead of being a mom, my job's a counselor. I have to listen, I have to advise. That puts me in a different mind state, and it allows me to step back and to think and refocus in a different avenue. Same, if my husband and I are arguing or we don't seem to see eye to eye, we say, stop, we're going to be friends right now. And we go into friend mode because friends wouldn't argue the way that we're arguing. So we stop and say, friend, and now he has to talk in third person of Melissa, and I mean, he has to talk and, well, me and my wife, whatever, and now I'm the friend giving him advice. So, and that's what I do a lot when I'm dealing with families and I see their children going into the aggressive state. Even I will start to panic with them, but then I say, stop. I take a deep breath and then I say, who am I now? And I go into a role almost like you're playing a different character, because at that moment, your emotions and your energy is too involved. So you have to give yourself a different character and say, okay, stepping back, I'm going to be somebody else right now because maybe Kim can't be mom when Anthony is, upset. Maybe Kim can say, you know what? I'm not the mom right now, and I am just going to be a security guard. And then now you're a security guard, just making sure he's safe, but that way you're not having to go so emotionally invested. So you just really it's a technique of switching your mind frame into thinking that you're somebody else, and you have to disassociate a little bit and think that this is not your child, this is somebody else's child, and they're coming to you. How would that happen? Or you are this is your child, but maybe you're their counselor. Whatever that is, whatever technique you can utilize, I would say sit down and say, what roles can I play? And then when you're in the role of counselor and they start talking and you're going, oh, I don't want to hear any of that, I don't want to hear any of that. Okay, well, we're friends, because I can well, your friend can sit and your friend can listen. So come up with different parts of you that can fulfill a need at that time, but is not going to be emotionally invested at that time, and instead can pull back to play another role. I guess that's the best advice that I have. If anyone else has advice, please say it.
No, I love that. That's great. That actually, my headache started to get a little bit like it's not as bad. So I think that actually like resonated with me very well. So um my other question, I'm not really thinking very clearly right now because of the foggy mind, but um as far as like, sort of manifesting and things like that, like I guess that's the fear mentality and the worry, like, is it me causing my child to do these things, or is it, or like for the physical ailments or behavior and things like that, am I thinking about that, which is then causing it to happen, or is that just a fear-based mentality sort of that I need to get out of?
All of the above. All of the above. If you already said it, you already thought it, you already put it into the world. If you're trying to stop it and say, I don't want to think that way, you're putting it into the world and you're trying to stop it. Anytime you try to bottle cap anything in this world, it's going to come out in a different way that you don't want it. So start manifesting the other way and saying, things are going to be okay. They don't need to be good, because you don't need to lie to yourself and say that they're going to be good right away, but things are going to be okay. I can handle this. This will help. Anytime that you embed fear into anything, then yes, that is a sort of manifestation too. Thoughts are manifestation. So whether you're afraid of something or whether you're happy, it's going to manifest any which way that you think. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're just saying, well, the whole world's just going to be happy and that's the way it is, that everybody else is going to be happy. That's going to have to be you putting your mind state. But yes, every thought that goes out is going to be caught by somebody. So training your thoughts is going to be really good. I used to walk in stores. I remember just being a little punk kid for a while. Life wasn't going good. I'm in foster home. Yeah, I don't have any of my siblings. My parents moved me to Iowa 6 months ago. I don't have any real friends, and I remember, oh, that person, I don't like their shirt. I don't like their face. I don't, I don't like anything in the world at that time. And I realized that my mind then started to play that way. So the way that I got out of it, because I thought, this isn't me, this isn't what I want. I would go to stores, and every single person that I saw, I love you. I love you. And I thought that in my head, I love you. And I would look at them and I love you. And it was so awesome, because then my brain just naturally wanted to love everyone, because then that's how I trained my brain. So maybe training your brain into different ways of thinking whenever you have these per se negative thoughts, immediately replace it with a positive thought. And it doesn't have to necessarily, I'm not going after I just said be positive. It doesn't have to be Well, great. They just pooped and they spread it all over. You might not be able to come up with anything positive about that, but you might be able to look up at the wall and say, I really like that color purple. I really like that I can breathe. So just know it doesn't have to be positive about the thing that you're talking about, but if you can change your mindset right away, then it's not dwelling in your brain. Now, the one thing that I know about the brain too is we have these little dendrites, and when we are in when we're in a state of flow, when we're in our natural state of harmony with our body, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're happy, whatever, blah blah blah, emotions are coming, then it looks a lot like my hand, and the information's coming out and it says, okay, melatonin needs it, and it says, okay, here's melatonin, and then melatonin is had, serotonin's needed, and so all the information's going out and received in the right synapses. What happens when we're angry, what happens when we're sad and frustrated, resentful, and we stay on that, is the brain actually starts to branch out. So how it's supposed to just be my arms and my hands, anger will actually branch more out. And the dendrites we will have more dendrites than what we need. And the more angry that we get, it's just more branches and more branches. So now you imagine all my hands, because anger wants someplace to go. And so the only thing that it does is start growing these branches. So now when my melatonin comes out of here, it might go into here, but it might point into where my serotonin is. And so people that remain angry or fearful or upset, their brains actually are very different. And the more that you can calm yourself and bring yourself back in and focus, then they come back, and that's where the brain starts working. But that's why people say, they have chemical imbalances, is because they have these extra dendrites that are sending off these synapses and or energy through the synapses, and it's not receiving in the right place. And so it is a chemical imbalance. But when you're train your thoughts, you can bring that back so that your brain works the right way. And that's really a thing that I feel that we should tell people, is that when we stay in that, we remap our brain to always be that. And that's what's happening with humanity right now, is it's easier to be angry rather than take responsibility. And so now we have all these angry people that are just shooting off their mouth. They're not sleeping right. They're not waking up right. They're not, they're depressed when they should be happy when they should be depressed, and all these other things. And that's because they have allowed for their brain to actually get out of control. So, yeah.
That's very, very interesting. And actually, I've said to people before, sometimes, like maybe every couple days, I will literally just cry just to get it out. Because if you hold it in, it makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that was beautifully said. Thank you.
Tears are holy water. I've really looked at humanity, and the two strongest things that a human can do is ask for help and cry. Like, quite honestly, energetically, that is when the people are the strongest. When they ask for help, because that means that they are able and willing to connect to another person and give and receive energy. And that is what we came for. That's why babies, when we're born, we need all the help we can get. We don't need the same kind of help when we're adults, but we need that help. And then crying also is something that really takes strength. But what I want to say about crying is, when you cry, they're holy grail tears, because it's the actual energy that we're holding in our body, the density. And I can tell you, emotions carry weight. When I've done healings, we've had people lose up to, well, we had one guy lose 15 pounds. That was a weird thing, but people will regularly, when they lay on the healing table, they'll lose, the average is 3 pounds before and after healing, as they lose 3 pounds. We didn't do anything. I didn't feed them anything. I literally just moved their energy to somewhere else and took their energy off of it. And their energy is dense. Everyone says negative energy. I want to call it dense energy, heavy energy, because it actually weighs you down. When we cry, we change that energy that we have in, and we release it into these tears, and that's an actual transference of energy. So if you're feeling icky inside and you cry, and you cry, then you now have room for growth. Yeah. All right, guys, let's do a quick, I want to just give some healing out to everyone. I'm going to start with a little prayer. Use your own words. If you don't like mine, I hold nobody to my beliefs. I believe you all should have your own. So I'm going to try to cover everyone, but I just want to put a prayer out for this community and for everyone out there. And if you don't want to participate, feel free at any time you can leave. I'm not forcing this on anyone. Dear Heavenly Cosmic Universal, Father, Mother, Nature, Brother, Sister, please watch over this world. I know you're already doing so, and I know you're already putting the energy out, but I would like to gift you the energy to help a little bit more. Please take our prayers, our hearts, our love, and utilize it to help ease the stress, frustration, resentment, anything that makes people uncomfortable. Can you please lighten the load just a little bit? Angels, Mother Nature, spirit friends, we ask that you gather around us right now, holding your energy together, encapsulating us in your love and the embrace and the nurturing and the safety. Please allow my friends to breathe, relax, feel, and understand themselves and what's happening around them. Give them the strength to break down when they need to break down. Give them the strength to pull back when they need to pull back. Help them connect, understand. Can you please touch each and every one of them tonight in a special and unique way so that they know that you are out there, God? Can you let them shine just a little bit more tomorrow than they did today because you gifted them that light? You opened up their cells, their heart, and their brain, balanced it and harmonized it in a way that we all can provide you in this world with so much more. This is a symbiotic relationship. And the more that you help us, the more we can help you and the more we can help each other. And can you please put that into the thoughts and the minds of the people around us, that help and support is okay to give. Please take away their resistance to reach out to somebody that they see in need of just human connection. Because we know the resistance, we know the fear, we know the anger. That is not of this world. That is not of our God. Does not belong here. Expand our hearts so that energy can leave. Give peace. Please allow me now and anyone else who's in here to just provide energy in whatever way feels comfortable, whether that's they continue to pray in their head or they send out the energy or just say, I'm here, I'm present. Please connect our energy. Let us all feel it, embrace it, be it, experience it, and utilize it in our everyday life. Put some little sleep energy on you guys too. Lots of people. Can we get some sleep? So, can you please help the bodies relax, the minds relax, so that everyone can rest and reset? So I want to teach you guys just a really cute, simple, quick trick. When you're feeling overwhelmed, a lot of times it is other people's energy within our universal torus. And energy really is just that. It's everywhere. It's energy. It's things moving, being able to transmute and to change, transition. So one thing that you can do when you're feeling really frustrated is you can actually just scrape that energy away. Sometimes I go to a bathroom or if somebody makes me upset or I don't want that energy, I just go, I don't want that. And that can go to the earth, that can go to whoever needs it. Bless it when you leave it and say, may this go where it needs to go. Don't try to force it on someone if you're mad, because then they're just going to get it and bounce it back to you. Sometimes that stubbornness that they have, a tree might need. So if they're giving you a stubbornness, maybe ask a tree if they need that, but offer that back. And it's just as simple as saying, any energy, that is no longer serving for me, or that isn't, serving anybody that I'm, that any energy of anybody that I hold, please let that go and just wipe that off of you. And you can wipe your hands, even if you do soft wipe, that's even just clearing the lymph. So doing something like that, it actually helps. And if somebody makes you upset and you don't want to be upset, or somebody's hurting you, or something is happening and you don't want that, you don't have to accept it. And you just say, I don't accept it. And then bring yourself into a place of the best harmony you can, whether that's just watching a movie or talking to someone or turning on a song. Do as much as you can do. I love you, Owen, to change that energy. But you all can do it. I have faith in you. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for being here with you today and everyone else. Peace be with all of you. Bye, everyone.